In the 2025 article, What AI Doesn't Know, We Could Be Creating a Global Knowledge Collapse by Deepak Varul Dennison, discusses how generative AI is contributing to the loss of local and traditional wisdom. This first quote is from the first section of the article. In this section, Dennison shares a story of how his father used traditional medicine instead of modern medical practices to deal with a tumor on his tongue. It was a success, which sparked Dennison's curiosity into how information is passed down and shared in today's society and the role that technology plays in it, specifically AI. Dennison shared that Gen AI risks contributing to the erasure of systems of understanding that have evolved over centuries, disconnecting future generations from vast bodies of insight and wisdom that were never encoded yet remain essential human ways of knowing. This quote stood out to me for a few reasons. The first being that this is Dennison's thesis. It is a very beautiful, strong thesis because it sets the tone for the article, which is a cautionary one, but it's also a warning about how being ignorant on this topic of AI and the effects that it has on the earth is dangerous. Is AI doing more damage than good? We will soon see. Another reason that I like this quote is the wording. Dennison does a fantastic job of putting into perspective the race between evolution and time. Meaning, by the time we have the technology to encode all of the cultural aspects of every single culture on the earth, will all the cultures be there? Will we be able to record every single aspect of every single culture? Or will cultures die out before we are able to achieve that? Will we lose? How much wisdom and knowledge will we lose by the time we have this technology? The second quote is a little bit later in the article, and Dennison explains how AI algorithms work and how they are trained. He explains that LLMs, large language models, usually overrepresent the most likely answers and underrepresent the least likely answers. Dennison shares that LLMs are optimized to predict the most probable next token, the next word or word fragment in a sequence, which leads to a disproportionate emphasis on high likelihood responses. This quote stood out to me because it explains exactly how AI can be and is contributing to the loss of human knowledge. Due to AI being optimized for speed and convenience, it has become selective in the information that it gives and shares, resulting in the omission of more options, more data, more facts, more resources that the user can use. Another reason why I like this quote as well is that it explains how AI algorithms work, which was something that I did not know previously. So it's very handy, very helpful. And the last quote that stood out to me is towards the end of the article, where Dennison talks about some of the reasons why more traditional practices are usually excluded from databases, ranging from the practices being passed on orally, so just simply not being written down, to liability issues in the corporate world. Dennison ends the second to last section of his article by saying this: "We are enmeshed in shared ecological systems where local wounds inevitably become global aches," showing how forgetting and purposefully omitting certain traditional practices can have a negative impact on the environment, inside and outside the community. This can look like forgetting certain farming techniques that specifically preserve water during the dry months of the year, or forgetting specific medicinal practices that are as effective as modern day practices. But the thing that I like most about this quote is a reminder that all life, human beings, plants, animals, and the earth itself are all connected. What we choose doesn't just affect ourselves, but it affects others, and it can have impacts and affect the earth.